student enrolled in the advanced graduate degree for educational computing. My assignment for today, which is why I'm doing this tutorial, is to create a tutorial and talk about an absorb activity. Well, I chose for this lesson, I chose a lesson that I would teach to students that are learning Italian. My students are college students learning Italian, and this is their second semester learning Italian, so they are at the intermediate level. They have reviewed a lot of what they learned last year, and when we practice in different levels, at different levels, and the drill practices and all that, for this absorb activity. I chose video conferencing because video conferencing is a great phenomena. It is the best way to socialize and communicate and stay in touch with the rest of the world. While you still are here, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to go to another country, and also you can create great friendships through video conferencing. Well, I'm going to introduce video conferencing to my students today, and they've been instructed. They have the instructions on the desk, but I also explained to them last week that they have to use the formal way to address the professor that will be video conferencing with us. They're living in Italy. The students are in Italy and the professors in Italy, and they're learning English. So they have to, when addressing the professor, they have to use the formal which is a sign of respect, because she's at a higher status and she's older than them. With the rest of the students, they can use tu, the informal, for you. This is also something that is going to be considered, that is mentioned in the rubric, because the rubric is the grading system, and this is going to, and they have it written down, and they've had it for over a week, so they can review and practice and have an idea of what is expected of them, and there's no surprises. The other thing about video conferencing, the reason why I feel it's an absorb activity, it is because video conferencing is very much like a lecture. You have to be in the classroom. You have to pay attention, carefully, really pay attention to what your pen pal is saying to you, because if you don't, you would get confused about what they're telling you, because my students are not used to being exposed to regional accents and also a dialect that also affects the Italian accent, even if they speak in Italian, standard Italian. My students are used to a professor in the classroom who explains things very carefully in Italian, or who uses English also to explain things to them. So everything is much slower. It's at a slower pace for them here. Anyway, but it is an absorb activity because they have to pay attention, and they also have to pay when their pen pals are speaking in Italian, but they also have to pay attention to when they speak in English, so they can give them constructive criticism, and they will receive constructive criticism. Respect is above all, and politeness and courtesy is the main thing when having a conversation, and they know that. Anyway, the other thing about the lecture is that, well, the video conference, which is also a lecture, is the syntax, which is mentioned in the rubric, which is the grading system, how they be graded. The syntax, they have to use proper syntax when speaking to their pen pals. They have to use the proper word order in Italian. They have to make sure they conjugate the verb in agreement with the subject. They have to try to pronounce at a fluency level, which is not easy for them at this level, but they will be exposed to their classmates, their pen pals, and that is going to help them with the pronunciation. The other, so I have some objectives for this lesson. My overall objective is for students to acquire some fluency, and through classical conditioning, which in this case would be through exposure to these pen pals throughout the semester, they will become more fluent because they will be exposed to them on a regular basis. They don't get exposure to the Italian language outside of the classroom. Everything is in English. So here in the classroom is when I have to facilitate their ability to communicate, and in order for their listening skills and the speaking skills to become more fluent. Another goal that I have is for students to lose the fear of speaking in Italian, a language that they did not grow up speaking. Like it happens to all of us, or anyone also coming to this country. If they didn't grow up speaking the language, English, for example, other people didn't speak English when they grew up, when they came here, they're afraid to speak in English because they're afraid that others will laugh at them, and that just happened, that people laugh. So this is an easier way, a more humane way for students to get fluent in a target language, in a foreign language, because their pen pals are also getting help because they want to improve their English, and they know they make a lot of mistakes, and they also want my students to be sympathetic to their students. So in that sense, that is an easier way, a sensitive way to learn a foreign language and to become fluent at it. And practice makes perfect. So those are the two main goals. My other goal is for them to start pronouncing the words at a native Italian level, and that is going to come with practice. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen this semester. It may happen a little bit this semester, but it's going to take years and years of this video conferencing until, if someday they can live in Italy for a long time, maybe all power to them because they took this class. They may be more fluent and do something with the Italians. So for their own personal growth and their self-esteem, it is good to be fluent in a foreign language. Okay, so those are my goals. The rubric, the grading, students will be graded not as a group. They will be graded individually. I will be assessing the video conference of my students while they are having conversations with their pen pals, and I will be looking for effort. The fewer mistakes they make, the closer they are to excellent syntax, the easier, the more comfortable they feel speaking in Italian. That's gonna get them closer to an A, or they will get an A. If they have a few errors, not too many, if they made a little mistake here and there with the pronunciation or the word order, the syntax, it's a B. And if they made several mistakes, I know they did their best, and if the syntax was imperfect, they will keep learning through practice and conditioning through the years. Practice makes perfect. Come si dice in italiano, con la pratica si impara. So these students, that's the lesson, that's the tutorial for today, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. So again, my name is Mildred Fazon. I'm a graduate student at Stony Brook University, enrolled in the Advanced Graduate Certificate Program for Educational Computing, and have a good evening.